Good afternoon, or good morning, depending on where you are. My name is Kirby Drake, and I'm pleased to be here today to talk with you about intellectual property and particularly contract due diligence 101. So, just a little bit about me. I'm a intellectual property attorney in Dallas, Texas, and what I focus on uh, primarily patents and trademarks, but also have experience related to copyrights and trade secrets. And while we see intellectual property in litigation contexts for sure, and in protection of of inventions or brands and all, what we're going to focus on today is more on the transactional side, and these are things that if you're doing business law or contract law, or even business litigation in some cases, you may end up seeing clauses that we would characterize as intellectual property or IP clauses. And so that's what we're going to focus on today, is to try to give you a orientation or a refresher of intellectual property and how it fits into contracts, so that even if you're not an intellectual property lawyer, you'll be able to issue spot and hopefully address some of these issues, or know when you need to get an intellectual property attorney involved to help you. So the agenda today is essentially five topics, and then we'll talk about some examples if we have time at the end. But we'll be looking at at how you can identify and come up with appropriate IP definitions that you include depending on the type of contract that you're preparing or you're reviewing. Look at some of the relevant questions that you're asking about inclusion of licenses in a contract related to intellectual property. We'll focus on some of the representations and warranties that you need to be aware of, whether you're on the buyer or the acquirer side, or the seller or the owner side. We'll talk a little bit about IP indemnification clauses and when and how they can be utilized. And then finally, understanding when and how confidentiality and non-disclosure clauses can be included in a contract, and or whether it can be part of a bigger agreement, or whether it might be proper to have it in a separate agreement. So looking first at some of the IP definitions that need to be included depending on the type of contract. And before we get into this